Texas, House Speaker signed 52 arrest warrants against Democrats who left the state to block an election reform bill. And right now, more than 20 still remain in Washington, D.C. as Republican lawmakers call for their return. Joining us right now, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. Attorney General, welcome back to the National Desk. Good to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
It has been a month since Texas Democrats left the state to break quorum and protest the voting bill. What's the latest regarding the arrest warrants, and explain how those warrants would work when they do come back?
Yeah, so we cannot go out of state to arrest anybody, and people should understand an arrest in this case is not like we're going to take them to jail. They're merely going to be taken into custody. If a law enforcement officer finds them, well, they'll be taken into custody, and they will be taken to the House floor, and the doors are locked on both those who are voluntarily there and those who are being taken into custody. So everyone will end up being treated the same. Unfortunately, they'll all be locked in because they have to be. Otherwise, they'd go back and leave the Capitol and take away the ability of others to vote.
How would you guys know when they do return? Is there some way that you guys are following that?
No, I mean, it's not very sophisticated. They just have to be found. There will be officers looking for them. They can hide still in Texas, but if they are found, they will be brought back. They ought to just go, because eventually they're going to be found, and we're going to get this done.
In a statement, Representative Chris Turner, who chairs the Texas House Democrats caucus, released a statement. This is what he said. "It is fully within our rights as legislators to break quorum to protect our constituents. Texas House Democrats are committed to fighting with everything we have against Republicans' attacks on our freedom to vote." What's your thoughts on what he said? And what are the rules when it comes to breaking quorum in Texas?
Well, I mean, they're not supposed to do this under law. They're supposed to show up if there's a session. They have an obligation to represent their constituents. In this case, we have a 2/3 requirement. So what they are doing, we have a minority stopping the majority from voting. So they are sort of imposing on the right of others to vote. I hope that gets changed in the next legislative session. They change the rules so it's a majority that require a quorum. That way you can't have a small minority, as in this case, blocking the ability of other elected representatives to represent their constituents, because that's fundamentally what's happening here. Is you have a minority deciding for the majority what can be voted on and what can't. That just isn't the way democracies are supposed to work. Attorney
General, should those Democratic lawmakers not return to Texas, what steps are you and Governor Greg Abbott prepared to take?
So in the long run, if they don't come back, I think they have to. Many of them have families and jobs. But if they didn't come back, there could be a determination that they vacated their office, and there'd be a special election called, and they could be replaced.
All right. Well, Attorney General, before you go, I want to touch on what's going on at the border right now, because Laredo Mayor Pete Sines says busloads of migrants are being sent to Austin and Houston without being tested for COVID. He also said he would like to see the border shut down. What is going on in your state in terms of COVID and migrants? And are hospitals seeing an increase in admissions from migrants with COVID?
Yeah, I can think, as you saw from your first story, we have very few ICU beds left. When you open the border up, it not only causes other crime and human trafficking and an increase of drug trafficking. The cartels are certainly making a lot more money charging people to come across the border now. But it also has an impact on the health of our citizens. And we have a large increase of COVID. It's not surprising when you open the border up and you let people in without being tested. I talked to a couple of Dallas police officers just a couple of days ago, and they were in Dallas when 2 busloads of people came in, probably untested, many with COVID, and they were just let out of the bus and they just disappeared into the night. And that's what's going on all over my state, and it's happening all over the country.
What are you hearing from the Biden administration? Are they in communication with you guys?
No, they have not been in communication with us since this started. As soon as they opened the border, they shut off communication to us. They're not telling us where these people are going.